Always walk with your head high. We took a shot at success and we came up short, unfortunately. We rolled the dice, man, for the third time. There's 13 world title fights. Not everyone's been successful, but everyone's been fun and entertaining. We're trying to create history for British boxing, and I think we're doing that. And also, I appreciate all the press, media. The fans aren't here, but I thank them through you guys. I'm sure you guys will let them know that we're appreciating their support. And probably you're asking, do I still want to continue fighting? Of course I want to continue fighting. That's what I said is, we took a shot at success and we came up short. And what does that mean now? We're going to run away? Or we're going to live to fight another day? And that's what I'm a warrior. And also, before I finish, we have to give credit to our opponent as well, Daniel. Even though when I sign up to fight opponents, I don't really like him in my head anymore. But now it's done. I take my hat off to him and say, well done, Tim and his team. And also thank you to my team as well for the way they prepared me. There was a few mistakes in there, but that's the name of the game. Fine margins can cost you at the top level. So thank you.
Right.
Is that all good? That all good?
Yeah.
Yeah? Thank you guys again. Much appreciated. God bless.
Right. I knew he'd want to stay. I told you. Thanks, AJ. Guys, carry on if you...
Ben, question to you. If there is a rematch, if you're in his corner for said rematch, what do you think AJ needs to do to try and win back that belt or just beat Daniel?
Like I say, we'll have to go back and review it because he knows what he needs to do. There was nothing that Daniel done that shocked us. That we was expecting him to do those things. Preparation did go well. We prepared well. So we'll have to go back and look at that, you know. Of course, now we have that fight to look at. Of course, I already know there's a couple of things that adjustments that could. When situations occur, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So perhaps some of the ways that we was looking to skin that cat, maybe there's some better options of how to try and tackle those scenarios and situations. So, yeah, of course, you know, we'll be straight at looking at and reviewing that and looking at what we can do better to help AJ be better.
Do you still think it's a winnable fight?
Yeah, of course. Like Eddie, look, he got off to a shocking start and still not nearly won the fight, but you know, we're still in the fight after such a bad start. And I'm just very, very proud of what he showed in there after such a bad start against such a young, strong, hungry fighter like Daniel Dubois. A terrible situation to be in. I'm not saying a lot of fighters would quit in a sense of asked to be pulled out, but a lot of fighters wouldn't keep trying to fight the way that AJ did. So I'm just really proud of him for that.
Ben, what were you saying to him in between the last couple of rounds? I know would have all been happening so fast. Was there ever a time in your mind when it came across that he might actually be too tough for his own good and you would have to intervene at any stage there?
Yeah, of course you have to keep that in mind when a fight's going like that. So it's something that you have to keep in your mind and be aware of. Going into the last round, like I already explained, he come back to the corner. He said, "These are the moments we live for, tough moments," and spoke about rolling the dice. He rolled the dice and hurt Daniel, but was just a little bit reckless in terms of his application right in the final moments. But you know, there was issues that occurred way before that situation, so that wasn't the main issue, but it's just obviously it was the final issue.
Eddie, so you've been here before with Anthony, you know, building him back up after defeats, but just the manner of the defeat tonight, that's the first time I think we've seen him, like, you know, really hurt at the end of a fight. But would that concern you going forward?
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, it's probably the only time in his whole career I've seen him really hurt. So it's not bad, having won 2 World Heavyweight Championships, 13 World Championship fights, and that's the only time he's really been hurt, to a point where he couldn't get up. Do you know what I mean? Heavyweights get knocked out all the time. And you never want to see a heavyweight get knocked out, but it is the first time in his career he's been properly hurt. So you never want to see it, and you never want to carry on too long, but at the same time, AJ is a heavyweight that doesn't actually have many miles on the clock, in all honesty. And, you know, the moment that Ben comes to me and says, just doesn't look the same fighter anymore. And by the way, AJ is the one that will call that shot before anyone. You know, fighters sometimes need saving from themselves. AJ's a smart guy. He's got a big team of people around him. We all know that we've seen the best AJ over the last year. So, you know, it's difficult to say just because he got chinned tonight, well, that's it, you know. But, of course, he's in the closing chapters of his career. There's no doubt about that. And now, obviously, you know, we have another fight with Riyadh Season and Turki Al-Sheikh. And Daniel Dubois is part of that plan. But so too could be Tyson Fury or another heavyweight. So, look, I think that 2025, you know, is going to be an interesting year for Anthony Joshua, one way or the other. But he will definitely be back. And whether it's against Daniel Dubois, Tyson Fury, whoever, you're going to be entertained because, you know, that was incredibly entertaining. Albeit you don't want to see your fighter get beat like that. But our interests are to make sure that he leaves this sport with legacy, with a huge amount of money in the bank, but also with his health intact. And, you know, if you start getting knocked out like that, you certainly have to look at it. But really the first time in his career when he hasn't been able to get off the deck. And there's been many times he's been down and never not tried to get up. But that one was just a shot. You know, when you try and land an uppercut and you get caught trading by a huge right hand, it doesn't matter who you are, you're getting knocked out. Unfortunately, it happened with a lot of damage on the clock. And that's perhaps why it ended the way it did.
Can you give us a little bit of insight into how to mitigate the risk? You said it wasn't going according to plan. Are you trying to remind him of the plan, or do you try and come up with a contingency when you see things are going wrong? What is it like in the corner?
Yeah, well, you go into a fight with knowing the tendencies of the opponent through previous fights of his, and then during the course of the fight, certain tendencies might stand out more. For example, when you do this, he's often doing that. This is how you deal with that situation. So we're trying to, but when you get off to a bad start like that, you know, at the same time we was trying to, situations were occurring that we didn't want to happen. So we're trying to deal with those situations. This is the best way to deal with that. And then, you know, this is the best way to deal with that situation in a safety first manner. And then these are situations where, you know, you might take a risk on this. This situation keeps happening. You're going to have to be ballsy in this situation. And he did that. And there was a couple of shots that he landed when he did do those things and settled things down or hurt Daniel. And then the application after that wasn't quite what we was looking for. So, but this is heavyweight boxing, you know. These things happen. Doesn't mean that it's okay. Doesn't mean that it's fine. Doesn't mean that we're not going to go back and say, look, you know, we need to do this better, or this is a situation that we need to look at and review. But you know, we're well aware, and he went out on his shield, and that's all you can ask for.
Ben, I spoke to Usyk, and he basically, he basically said AJ was in the pocket for too long and his right hand was too low and he was leaning back rather than taking a step back. He said that was the reason why he kept taking the right hands. Yeah, his feet were lagging a little bit. He wasn't as sharp on his feet. You know, that was something that we spoke about. We wanted him to defend with his feet first in situations when Daniel was rushing in, or drop and tie up. We didn't want him to sit there, catch him for too long. No, Daniel's heavy-handed, not a smart approach. And of course, didn't want him getting caught, not being ready, and unaware. And those things unfortunately happened.
Eddie, AJ has had setbacks before that he's overcome. Do you see this one being any different? How do you make sure that he gets through this?
I mean, because I know he'll be consistent, you know, and I think the key now is to make sure that when he comes back physically, he's fine. I mean, I don't see it being a fight that ends his career, But as I said, he's in the final chapter or chapters of the career, and that was a big blow because we fancied winning tonight and then fighting the winner of Fury against Usyk, and we may end up fighting the loser of that fight, maybe if it's Tyson Fury. But you know, you got the Dubois rematch, you got other fights out there, but I think it's really about returning to the gym and having time off and seeing how you come back with Ben. You know, I mean, a lot depends on how you're performing in the gym, and like I say, we've been performing really well in the gym. So no excuses. Like, we can't sit here and say, oh yeah, we didn't feel great in the gym or we didn't look good. We did, and we fancied it tonight, but we were beaten by the better man.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, look, again, we're a team, so we discuss all of this together. The rebuild, you know, at this stage, I mean, we've rebuilt. We've had 4 good wins. The last 2 look really good. And we got beat tonight. So do we want to go and rebuild with another 2 or 3 fights? I don't think so. But we definitely have to make the right steps. It's a very important decision, the next one, because it could be the end of the road, the next one. You know, and you want to make sure that you're in the right fight at the right time with the right preparation. And if that involves a rebuild fight, maybe we'll look at it. But I don't feel like at this stage in his career he's going to want to go through a training camp for a small fight. He wants to be in the big fights. And I think when he reflects tonight, weirdly, I mean, he's going to be devastated, but there is a little bit of an element that he enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? Because he kind of said yesterday that he's ready to go to war. And he did go to war. Unfortunately, he come out on the poor end. But he did dig in, you know, and he never stopped trying to win, even, like I said, when he didn't have his legs.